Welcome. Tonight, we're going to travel, not far in distance, but far in time, into the warm, dusty hills and quiet lake shores of ancient Judea. Imagine yourself beneath a linen canopy, the gentle rustling of date palms overhead. The air is dry, the world is slower, and yet it moves with the weight of empire, of prophecy, of everyday survival. We'll wander through the rhythms of daily life, from the hardened hands of Galilean fishermen to a quiet political earthquake unfolding beneath the temple walls. We'll descend into forgotten caves where parchment whispers secrets across millennia, and finally drift into marble halls where luxury, fear, and ritual intertwine. This is not the Bible as sermon, nor history as spectacle. It is instead a slow unraveling of the world behind the stories. So lie back, breathe deep, and let yourself drift gently into the time of Jesus. The sky is still dark when you wake, not because it's early, but because it's always early. You sleep in a small room, carved out of stone or shaped from mud brick. It smells faintly of fish and feet and ash. The fire pit is cold. There's no time to rekindle it. No time for anything, really, except to stretch your back, splash your face with a bowl of water left from the night before, and make your way out into the still, sleeping village. You are a fisherman, and today, like most days, you will work to survive. The Sea of Galilee is quiet in the pre-dawn, a long, shallow lake ringed with hills and haze. It's more peaceful than you feel. The boat rocks gently as you board. The oars creak. You feel the bite of the wood against your palms. You have no gloves. You never do. Your feet are bare. The boards are slick with fish oil and yesterday's sweat. The nets are heavy even before they touch water, soaked, fraying, and matted with reeds. They smell faintly sour, like something that once lived and now doesn't. And you row. It's cold. You don't expect that. Judea is known for its heat, but the mornings bite, especially when your skin is wet, especially when the wind picks up from the eastern hills. You speak little with the others. You know them well, too well really. You've shared this same tired routine since childhood. A father, a cousin, a neighbor. You each know what to do. One rows, one sorts the lines, one watches the shoreline. In silence, just the slap of water against wood, and the occasional bird call overhead. Storks, maybe, or gulls. You cast the net, pull, wait, again. Sometimes nothing comes. Sometimes worse than nothing. Old shoes, riverweed, the skeleton of a fish long gone to rot. But you try again, because you must. You owe a portion, not just to your family, not just to the market, but to the collector, a Roman official posted here in your small fishing village. He waits on the dock. He doesn't care whether you catch one fish or 100. His due is the same. The lake belongs to Caesar, after all. Even using it requires a toll. A fishing tax, they call it. And a toll for bringing the fish to market. And a toll for the stall at the market. And, of course, a toll to cross into the town proper. Should you want to trade your fish for oil, or salt, or cloth, the tolls are constant. like the flies or the sun. By mid-morning, you're sweating. Your back aches. The breeze dies. The water starts to steam. And still, you row, cast, haul, repeat. At midday, you eat, if you have anything left. Usually, it's a bit of barley bread, hard, flat, baked days ago, and dried fish, chewy, salty, tough. You chew slowly, half out of hunger, half out of delay. You don't want to go back to hauling, but you do. You always do. Sometimes you wonder, silently, what it would be like to leave. To walk the road south, toward Jerusalem, to follow one of the preachers who wander the shoreline, talking about justice or peace or something better. But you have a family, you have a boat, you have a net, and nets tangle. By evening, your hands are raw, your legs cramp, your face is sunburned. Though you don't yet know that word, you just know it stings and itches, and it will peel. The fish, what little you caught, go to the market. You get a few coins, enough maybe to buy beans and salt. Maybe not. Your wife will make it stretch. She always does. You wash, barely. There's a ritual to it. For cleanliness, for religious law, for dignity, but water is scarce. Clean water, scarcer still. You rinse your arms, your face, your feet. Then, finally, you sleep. You dream of nets, of oars, of wind, and you wake to do it again. Let us now leave behind the northern lakeshore and drift slowly south toward the ancient walls of Jerusalem. The city is larger, louder. Its stone streets wind like old scars, shaped by centuries of traders, prophets, and soldiers. It is the time of Passover. The city is crowded, more than usual. Pilgrims from every corner of Judea, from far-off provinces of the empire, have gathered. They bring lambs, prayers, questions. The air is thick with incense, and animals, and anticipation, and tension, because while Jerusalem is holy, it is also occupied. Roman banners flutter from the Antonia fortress. The soldiers are visible on every street. You can hear the scrape of their sandals on the paving stones. See the gleam of their armor in the sun. They are not here for the feast. They are here to keep order, because during festivals, revolts happen. Crowds inspire crowds. And in this city, where prophecy and rebellion sometimes speak in the same breath, a single spark can catch fire. And into this moment walks a man named Jesus. He does not arrive as a warrior. No banners, no swords, no fire. He walks in with words, stories, questions, reversals. He speaks of the poor, of the meek, of justice, of a kingdom not of this earth. Some call him a rabbi, others a threat. Some say Messiah, others blasphemer. To the people, he is something different, something intriguing. To the authorities, both Roman and Jewish, he is something dangerous. Let us pause now and look at those authorities. The Roman governor, Pontius Pilate, is no stranger to unrest. He governs with one goal: peace through control. Pilate's rule is not popular. He once marched Roman standards into the temple, a grave insult to the Jewish people. He funds aqueducts with temple money. He is practical, but not patient. Then there are the Sanhedrin, the religious council, Pharisees, Sadducees, elders, priests, each with different philosophies, but one shared interest: stability. They fear that this Jesus, if left unchecked, could provoke the people and bring down Roman wrath. And so, in secret, they move against him. He is arrested quietly, at night, in a garden. There are no riots, no crowds, only silence, broken by the shuffle of feet and the clinking of chains. He is taken first to the religious leaders. The trial is unusual. It happens before dawn. Witnesses contradict one another. There is no formal charge at first, only a growing sense of urgency. Eventually, the charge becomes blasphemy, claiming divine authority. But religious law alone cannot sentence a man to death under Roman rule. So, he is brought to Pilate. Now the story grows more complicated. Pilate is cautious. He does not see a violent revolutionary. Jesus offers no threats, no pleas. He speaks little. When he does, it is in riddles. Pilate asks, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus answers, ambiguously. Pilate hesitates. He sends Jesus to Herod Antipas, who is in town for the festival. Herod questions him, mocks him, sends him back. No decision. Pilate returns to the crowd, offers them a choice: release Jesus or a known insurrectionist named Barabbas. The crowd chooses Barabbas. Perhaps they are confused. Perhaps they are manipulated. Perhaps they are simply afraid. In the end, Pilate washes his hands, a symbolic act, a public gesture, but the sentence is passed: crucifixion. And so, Jesus is led outside the city. The execution is swift by ancient standards, brutal, yet ordinary. Crucifixion is not rare in this time. It is used precisely because it is feared, a tool of control, a warning. He dies not as a hero in the eyes of Rome, but as an inconvenience, removed. And yet, something lingers, because those who followed him scatter at first. They weep, they hide, they question, but slowly they gather again. They begin to tell stories. They begin to remember his words, and the ripple begins. What was meant to end quietly becomes the beginning of something else entirely, a movement that spreads across empires, not with swords, but with scripture, a political execution meant to preserve order becomes a theological cornerstone. History, as always, folds back on itself, far from the noise of Jerusalem, past the hills, and into the sun-bleached silence of the Judean wilderness. The world becomes still. Here, near the salty shores of the Dead Sea, the land is dry, cracked, and empty. The sun hangs low and watchful. The wind carries the whisper of dust across barren stone. There are no cities here, no crowds, no temples or markets, only cliffs and caves and echoes. It was in this silence, in 1947, that a young Bedouin shepherd threw a stone into a cave, not to search for history, but for a lost goat. The stone struck something unexpected, not animal, not earth, but pottery, clay jars. Inside were scrolls, wrapped in linen, covered in centuries of dust. And so began one of the most profound archaeological discoveries of the 20th century, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Over the following years, dozens of caves were uncovered. Inside, hundreds of scroll fragments, some nearly complete, others shattered and crumbling like parchment dust. Together, they would reveal an entire hidden world, one few had imagined, and none had seen for almost 2,000 years. Let us go back now to the people who may have written them. Scholars believe the scrolls were produced by a Jewish sect, possibly the Essenes, who lived at a settlement near Qumran. Their lives were rigid, structured, deeply religious. Imagine yourself among them. You rise at dawn. Your garments are white, simple. The community eats together, silently, with prayers before and after. Purity is everything. You bathe, daily, ritually, in cold water basins carved into the stone. You write, copy, study. There are strict rules. Speak out of turn, and you are expelled for 10 days. Disagree with the teacher of righteousness, the community, as spiritual leader, and you may be cast out forever. You do not marry. You do not own land. You wait. For what? For the end. The Qumran sect believed they were living in the final days, a time of cosmic struggle between good and evil. Their scrolls describe a coming war, angelic battles, and a new world order ruled by divine law. But not all their writings are so grand. Many scrolls are copies of scripture, older than any previously known versions of the Hebrew Bible. Others are community rules, calendars, hymns, and even commentaries, interpretations of sacred texts written by their own scholars. Some scrolls tell of a mysterious figure, the teacher of righteousness, who is opposed by a wicked priest. We don't know their names. Perhaps we never will. But their conflict shaped the community's identity. Still others hint at a second Messiah, not one of kingship, but of priesthood, a dual leadership, awaiting revelation. There are scrolls filled with strange visions, angelic hierarchies, apocalyptic battles, fragments of Aramaic that speak of giants, dreams, and watchers in the night. And then there is silence. At some point, perhaps in the 1st century, the community at Qumran disappears. Some believe they were massacred by the Romans. Others think they fled deeper into the desert. No one knows for certain, but before they vanished, they hid their scrolls. Carefully, intentionally, in jars, in caves. Perhaps they hoped to return. Perhaps they simply wished to preserve the truth they believed in. For nearly 2 millennia, the scrolls slept in darkness, unseen, unread, undisturbed. Today, we read them in climate-controlled labs, with infrared imaging and quiet awe. They do not rewrite the Bible, but they reveal something far more human, that even 2,000 years ago, people wrestled with belief, with identity, with community, and with fear. They sought order in chaos, meaning in ritual, hope in the face of uncertainty, and they left behind words, fragile, faded, but still breathing. Let us now turn from the caves toward stone palaces and torchlit courtyards, back into the city, but not into its markets or alleys. We step instead into the upper terraces, the places few ever see. It is late evening in Jerusalem. The sun is low, casting long amber shadows across the Temple Mount. Below, thousands of pilgrims prepare for prayer. But here, in the upper courts, the world is quiet. You are among the elite, not Roman, but Herodian, or perhaps part of the priestly class. You wear a robe dyed in deep indigo, your hair scented with imported oils from Petra. Your sandals are new, your fingers bear rings, not gaudy, but fine. You do not carry your own water, you do not bake your own bread, and you most certainly do not cast your own nets. The household bustles quietly. Servants move through tiled corridors. Courtyards are swept. Oil lamps are lit one by one, casting flickering patterns across mosaic floors. You recline on a low couch, sipping wine from a bronze cup. This is not the world of fishermen. This is the world of priests and princes. Let us begin with the temple priests. Their roles are sacred, but also political. The high priest, in particular, is not simply a religious figure. He is a negotiator, a mediator between Rome and the people. He wears fine linen, embroidered sashes, and a breastplate inlaid with stones, each one symbolizing a tribe of Israel. But his power is not absolute. To keep his position, he must work with the Roman governor and the Herodian dynasty, a family often seen as collaborators. Still, within the temple, the priests move with gravity. They oversee sacrifices, control the temple treasury, interpret the law, and influence decisions that echo across the nation. They dine well: roasted lamb, fresh dates, olives soaked in honeyed vinegar, figs from the Jordan Valley, bread leavened with oil and herbs. The meal is not loud. Conversation is measured, thoughtful, every gesture deliberate. At the apex of this world stands Herod the Great, though by the time of Jesus, he has long since died. Still, his legacy remains. His palaces sprawl across hillsides, built with Roman luxury and Eastern precision. Herod was a builder, and what he built still shapes the land. In Jericho, a winter palace with heated baths and frescoes of birds in flight. In Masada, a fortress suspended above the desert with swimming pools and shaded gardens. In Jerusalem, the Second Temple, rebuilt on a scale not seen in generations, columns as tall as date palms, gold glinting under the sun. Herod ruled through fear and favor. He executed his own sons. He curried Roman approval while proclaiming Jewish loyalty. His court was filled with intrigue, whispers behind curtains, alliances sealed over wine, and power balanced like pottery on a shelf. Those who served him navigated a delicate game. To speak too freely was dangerous. To speak too little was suspicious. And yet, life here was comfortable. Women of the court, daughters of priests, nieces of governors, were often educated. They learned Greek, recited psalms, debated law, but their roles were still confined. Their choices, shaped by politics, dowries, and lineage. Luxury in this time was not just material, it was space. A private room, a shaded veranda, the absence of dust, the luxury of stillness, but always watched, because in this time, power could not rest. It was always negotiating, always adjusting. A Roman general might change policy, A prophet might stir the crowds. A revolt might boil beneath the calm. And so, beneath the perfume and the gold, there is tension. A sense that this world, like so many before it, might not last. And now, as our journey through ancient Judea comes to a quiet close, let the echoes of the past begin to soften, like the fading footsteps of pilgrims leaving the Temple Mount, or the last ripples disappearing into the waters of Galilee at dusk. You've walked beside fishermen in the cold morning hours, heard the hush of a secret trial in candlelit halls, wandered into silent caves where forgotten scrolls whispered through time, and reclined, briefly, in the perfumed shadows of power. History, in all its complexity, is never just dates and names. It is rhythm, repetition, the scent of wet rope and barley bread, the sound of sandals on stone, the weight of decisions, and the stillness that follows them. Though much of what we've explored tonight has faded, the nets have rotted, the palaces have crumbled, even the scrolls have cracked and flaked away. Something lingers, a thread of continuity, a quiet reminder that even in distant, ancient lives, there were moments of breath, of hope, of weariness and waiting, not so different from your own. So as you rest now, perhaps still half awake, or already floating just beneath the surface of sleep, let your mind drift further, not to the past, but through it, through the warm winds of the Jordan Valley, through the soft rustle of palm branches in the courtyard, through the slow rhythm of a world long gone. The night is still, the stories have quieted, and here, in this calm, you are safe, you are still, and you are home. Good night.